tres, cuatro, cinco, cinco, seis. Welcome back to Absolutely. My name is Benny. That is Sal, and that is Dylan. And today we're going to be talking about Miss Marvel Episode 2. The second one. The dose of it. The dose. I got that in your head now. You're just like, what was even going on?
Yeah. The dose of it all, man.
The dose of it all. So if you're first time on this channel, we are Absolutely. We talk about superhero TV shows, movies, and stuff on the regular, from episode reviews to the news happening to overall just talking about trailers and analytics and all that other stuff. Sometimes we dive into other movies and other shows for fun, but today is a Miss Marvel episode. Okay, I watched it 2 hours ago, and I'm already forgetting what happened. Oh, no, it opens up with...
A lot happens.
A lot happened. This was like, the last one was like, oh, let's take some time. Here you go. Here's some characters. Maybe a little bit of a tone. Oh. This is the theme of the show. And then, next episode, here's everything. And I gotta tell you, didn't feel... Like, we were two-thirds of the way through the episodes, and I was like, I think this is the, like, fullest episode of a Disney Plus show I've seen. And I don't feel stuffed. Like, it was really well handled.
I was actually surprised. I was watching the episode, and I was surprised at how quickly it was paced and how well it was paced. Because I checked it, being like, I gotta only be like 15 minutes into this episode, and I had like 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm sitting here watching it on my tablet, just kind of doing my morning. And I was surprised how quickly it was moving through it, and it didn't feel like it was. Like, I didn't feel that breakneck speed you feel on some stuff where you're like, okay, those first 10 minutes were on crack. What is going on here?
Right? They just dropped like some really important things.
Yeah.
Especially like the Disney Plus shows do have this kind of weird issue with pacing where none of them realize that they're 6 episodes long. So they meander in some episodes, and then they speed up like towards the end. Like I watched this right after this week's episode of Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan, this episode, like, nothing really happens until like the last 5 minutes of the episode. But like, this is a 45-minute episode where stuff is constantly happening. And it's a really, really good balance of the like coming of age comedy and the superhero like action part of it. That's like melded together in this really well done way that's like perfectly representative of the comic, which is great.
They also do this wonderful thing where they don't dwell on the stuff that you know needs to be in it, but you don't care about enough to dedicate an entire episode to that most shows would. Like the drama between Kamala and her mom could have been a season-long arc, and instead it was one episode. Next episode, she's like, "Hey, listen, I'm really sorry." She's like, and it's over, and it's like
a real person,
like a real person. Like, we get so much in this. We got character traits and details that we didn't really get. Like, I don't remember her name. Kamala's
Zoe,
yes.
Okay, I was like, I watched this one, guys.
Thank you. I watched it too, but I was like, I don't remember what Zoe did in the last episode. In this one, I know everything about who she is, and I love her as a character, despite the fact that I don't know her name. But, like, trust me, I was like, wow.
I thought
like,
she was going to be the bully
her.
and just, like, I don't remember her from the comics, and I'm sure she's in the comics because everyone so far has been lifted out of the comics.
She's more of a stereotypical bully early on, but then later in the show, she finds out that Kamala is Miss Marvel and eventually starts dating Nakia, and that's their whole arc.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking of Nakia. That's what I was thinking of. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was thinking you were thinking of Nakia.
Yeah. I was like, not Zoe. I don't know anything about her. I don't care.
Zoe's the influencer girl.
Yes, which is fun.
Yeah, I like what they're doing
that
with
really well.
But I love how the first 10 minutes is just like her getting used to her powers. And I loved the entire, like, her on the rooftop. It just reminded me of like old school Spider-Man trying to figure out the powers. Like, oh, it's New York. We go to a rooftop to train.
Right. Which is how you're supposed to feel. Like, when you're watching Ms. Marvel, you should, because I think that was the indication. I think that's what they wanted from the original comic, is like, you should feel like this is a modern, new Spider-Man-esque story. Because it's about a teenager, like what would be a sidekick becoming a superhero. Yeah, that's what the show / comic is, and it should have that feel. And I think it balances. Like, I got a little bit of like Raimi notes, like Spider-Man Raimi notes, where it's like a little goofy, but it takes it. But the world that it is in takes itself seriously. So it's grounded.
It's just, especially just the fact that these characters are all teenagers, and it's very clearly like the whole sequence in the first act where Kamala is like falling in love with Kamran, like that.
Oh my god, yeah.
That whole
that
like classic like 90s, coming of age rom-com is like, I loved it and hated it, but it was like clearly like it was intentional to do the flip later. But yeah, and then that also this week, I won't spoil too much because I assume, Benny, you haven't seen this week's episode of The Boys yet, but it's weird that...
When did you watch it? It came out today.
It showed up on my server last night, so I don't know.
Okay. I was like, it came out this morning. How are you?
I think they just released it like late Thursday or something. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Cool. But both episodes of superhero television this week have had fantastic musical numbers in them. So.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah, Kamala, like, celebrating getting his number is so infectiously cute and sweet.
Yeah.
And I am wrong.
It's just so wholesome. The whole show feels so wholesome.
Yeah, I thought this show was going to be like, I don't know, like some really crappy Disney/Nickelodeon teeny bopper show with a superhero spin, and it's so much better. This is the one that, for me, feels like... Before I saw this episode, I heard that they're going to make a Wonder Man TV show on Disney Plus, and I was like, I think I'm done with Disney Plus. Like, I think I'm less excited about Disney Plus shows for the MCU. Like, I think I'd rather see the movies, but I think the Disney Plus influence is kind of screwing up the MCU. But then I saw this episode, and I'm like, now this is actually pretty good. Like, this is a good entry in the MCU overall. Like, I feel like it's connected, and not just because of all of the accoutrements that like tether it to the larger universe on the whole, which they did really well. Did you guys notice the Far From Home Easter egg?
No, what'd they do?
So Damage Control, or the Department of Damage Control, whatever. But the jerk who interrogates Ned and company in No Way Home, obviously he interrogates Zoe in that sequence, but when they're chasing after Kamala, or what they think is, an enhanced individual, they use the Edith drones.
Right, that's what I knew. I recognized that from somewhere.
I didn't realize those. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I was like,
so
you son of a bitch! You stole Edith drones, and you like, now we have drones. All right, like, and they're like, we don't even know who they belong to. Like, my god!
I think we should talk about Damage Control a little bit. I don't know how you guys feel about Damage Control in this universe.
Stupid idea. Damage Control should not be S.H.I.E.L.D.
They're kind of dumb.
They're S.H.I.E.L.D. That's my issue with them right now. Like, when he shows up, they're S.H.I.E.L.D. They're working in behind the scenes as S.H.I.E.L.D. They are just S.H.I.E.L.D. without saying
Just
S.H.I.E.L.D.
bring back S.H.I.E.L.D. Hashtag bring back the S.H.I.E.L.D. Don't do that. Like, don't have analogs for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Especially in this show, like specifically what they're doing seems like it to me. It like mixes the message of it, because they come on and like they're being like really heavy-handedly racist when they're interrogating Zoe. I don't know what like they're trying to do.
They were jerks in No Way Home too. I think we're not supposed to like Damage Control.
No,
but like
there's supposed to be an evil S.H.I.E.L.D. I think, and I think that's what they're setting up. I think we're gonna run into a problem where Damage Control becomes an issue, and I think we're setting up a real civil war, or at least leaving that door open.
Right, like where Nick Fury and Sword will return and then like reestablish S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
I mean. Did you guys see the comments from Samuel L. Jackson where he's like, I would rather be Nick Fury for the rest of my life than have to try and like do some Oscar bait bullshit. I was like, me too, man. Like,
that's a man who knows what he wants.
That's a man who's like, I'm done. Like, I'm done.
So one of the things that bothered me a little bit about this episode. Now let's get into the nitty gritty of the powers. Okay,
sure.
They straight up call them hard light. I do feel like this is...
She's Green Lantern.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a Green Lantern fan, they just straight up took hard light. I don't think hard light is even used as a term in Marvel Comics until this very moment.
No, Marvel has used it. I have to assume. No, I don't have definitive proof of that. But like, I think that hard light is one of those things that everyone owns. Like, you can say that.
I'm not saying that DC owns it. I know that for a fact. But
I don't know Marvel using it. I don't know Marvel I don't have... We know for a fact that Green Lantern produces, quote, hard light constructs.
Yeah, exactly.
And listen, the MCU is definitely deliberately, and whether they're succeeding or not is entirely in the eye of the beholder, but they are dunking on DC right now, because if you watched Eternals, That movie is we can do Justice League better. Watch.
100%. That's what exactly.
And now
what it
they're
was.
like, and why don't we call it hard light? First time you've heard that term in a movie or show referring to these characters. So now when Green Lantern does it, it's derivative. Damn it!
Exactly. Well, that's exactly what I was going to get at. They're straight up dunking on DC with this by using the powers in this way, and she's definitely using them different from the comics because there's a lot of platforms right now.
A lot of platforms. I was waiting for that hand. I'm like, when's the big hand gonna show
once.
up?
She did it once to try to catch the guy and missed.
Yeah,
and that's
it
all
did
we got.
happen, but like, what?
She did in the last episode too. But I think I do like that they did do a montage where she kind of got control of like the basics of her powers. Like she's not too nervous about moving with them anymore.
Well, she was, but I think what broke that is when she had to rush over to save the kid.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think they are going to build towards her like basically using her powers from the comics, but with hard light instead of her actual skin.
So,
which whatever.
In this episode. There's a portal that opens up, and they're alluding to there's a historical thing going on between her family and this portal.
Yeah, what?
And that portal reminded me of the start of the Magnificent Miss Marvel run, which See? Dylan, I think Dylan read it. It wasn't just me.
That is the so my
I did
concern
not.
about this, and this is why I don't want them to go this route, is that is the comic book that's made me stop reading Miss Marvel. So,
you know what? I'm on the other side. I actually found that an
Yeah.
interesting comic book that kind of changed
That's what I
things
was
up and
gonna say.
moved her in a different direction. So a lot of people don't know this book exists because
No.
when G. Willow Wilson left, it was Ahmed, I can't pronounce, Saladin? Is that who is
was
doing
it
right
Saladin
now?
Ahmed? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay.
I'm double checking. I want to give
before
credit where
his-
credit is due. Yeah, Saladin Ahmed took over on the book at that time.
Okay. That makes
So I'm
sense.
actually going to do a share screen here so you guys can see this book, okay?
Oh, cool.
So when she did that,
can't put
that
that in the
reminded
show.
me of Saladin Ahmed's Volume 1 of the Magnificent Miss Marvel. Okay?
Which is that it does make a lot of
This
sense.
is issue
'cause-
5 where they're going to show off some of the stuff. But what it boils down to is I can't remember all the little details of this book.
Yeah.
But what they allude to is that she is more than just an Inhuman. There's a portal that
Yeah.
warps her to an alien world where it turns out she's known as the Destined One in Kree mythology. And there's like a previous Miss Marvel. I'm not even joking.
What?
From what? No, but here's the thing. From what I remember,
That
also
sucks.
is some of that turned out to be fake. I don't.
Right,
I
I'm
think
pretty
that,
sure.
like-
I think I think it got a lot of backlash, but I think this is what they're basing this on.
Yeah.
So here's the original Miss Marvel, who was a Kree person.
But I think
So-
there's like a time travel thing, and that's why she was like, like it is her. I don't
Yeah.
remember because I read this arc and then stopped reading it, and it did only happen for one arc. She gets this costume or the new costume and then goes back to Earth.
And they use that for like another arc, the costume. None of her
Yeah.
powers change
Yeah.
though.
No.
But I feel like they're going to lead into this cosmic alien portal thing. Like maybe her family, instead of using the Kree, her family's destined to help this other world,
Right.
which brings her more into the line with the Marvels.
Yes.
There's one thing Miss Marvel's always had. She's never really been connected to Miss Marvel outside of it's her hero.
Right. Yeah. I was surprised by how little Carol actually factors into it. But yeah.
I think they could still be doing Inhumans. It really just depends on because they could backdoor it really easily. Like there's like literally one line in the show where Bruno very quickly says, "It looks like the Banglet is activating powers from within you." They're
Yes.
not.
Oh
Which
no.
is why I think they're linking it to the Kree and making her
Right.
space centric.
It's definitely
That's
linked to
what
the
I think is
Kree in
going
some
on.
way.
that was a
But
great
whether or
moment
not
in the
that's
episode.
Inhumans,
Yeah. No, it's
knows?
not. It's not. They're not going to do Inhumans. I'm sorry. It's
probably
over.
not.
The
But they
Inhumans are done.
can later if they decide.
They can, but they won't.
They want to
Like that's
now.
over.
No, but what a point is a lot of the stuff they're using in the show, the Banglet,
Yeah.
the portals,
Yes.
all of that lines up to a version of this, is what I'm saying.
Like it is from the comics. Like even if it is a full departure from what people largely know Ms. Marvel to be because they probably only read like the first volume or two.
Yeah.
They can say like, yo, this is from the comics. This is actually like referencing history for this character. And it is more convenient for us because it ties it directly in with other characters that we're going to use. Because Ms. Marvel 2 is going to be a ensemble picture starring all the Marvel-based characters, like the Marvels. And okay, like, you know what? If you want to do that and then go back, if we're no longer going in that direct, like, because it's the thing is the Ms. Marvel everyone likes in the comics goes into the cosmic stuff. But if the cosmic backdoors into the stuff people actually want to see,
Yeah.
then I guess that's fine, right? I mean, like, whatever.
But the reason why I think this is what they're doing, I think they're using this as like the staple for this new Miss Marvel, and then just changing her powers to be hard light to dunk on DC.
Right?
That run for Miss Marvel started in 2019.
Yeah.
The announcement of a Miss Marvel TV show was D23 2019.
Right.
So this all lines up that they were like, okay, we want to link her to the cosmic world. Saladin Ahmed, you're in charge of the new book. Link her to cosmic.
Yeah.
So we can put all this together for a future at the time probably was a Captain Marvel sequel that has Miss Marvel in it.
Exactly.
That's funny because I'm pretty sure after that first story arc, she does just like they stop, they just knock all that off and they go back to like normal Miss Marvel.
Oh yeah, she got because I did a search to see where because that's the only story I read in the line. I meant to keep reading it and it just didn't. For whatever reason.
So okay, this is another thing. Was this in this run or did G. Willow Wilson do this? There was a point in Miss Marvel where a character from somewhere else came over and was like a superhero that Kamala liked for a while, but then I don't remember what his name was. But the Kamran, the character in this episode, reminded me of him.
Is this the one that she falls in love with who makes video games? I did read that part.
Does he make video games?
There's a guy that makes video games. That's where the story. That's where I fell off. The story moves. She goes back to Earth after all of that and just gets a new boyfriend.
Yeah. Is his name like Red Fox or something? I don't remember.
I don't know, but it's all in the magnificent Miss Marvel run. But as soon as they opened the portal, that's when I was like, "Oh, we're doing that." I forgot that was even a thing. Like,
yeah,
I don't mind it as much
noobs.
now because they're clearly doing something else.
A comic thing, like, they're going in another direction. They're not going to do like there's no way they won't link it to the Kree. There's no way they won't link it to. I mean, like the fact is, someone reminded me earlier in the comments, like, I think the Skrulls are in charge of damage control.
Oh yeah, they are
because.
Sort of.
What do Nick Fury and Maria Hill do? And who are they calling during Far From Home? Since they're really Skrulls. And there is no shield. Like,
Marvel
who are they
knows.
working for? That I guarantee they don't know. But now that they have
that's the problem.
But now that they have a name for it, and Nick can be elsewhere, and they know he's off world, I think it's the Skrulls. Plus Secret Invasion's coming.
Well, my only complaint with them doing this, I'm okay with making a more of a cosmic Miss Marvel and going that route.
Yeah.
Little upset they went hard light, but hey, you know what? If I had that power to dunk on DC that hardcore, totally would have.
Well, I don't even think they picked the power set just to do it, but I think they said hard light. They're like,
I mean, Green Lantern keeps getting delayed with everything else that DC's putting out.
Poor DC.
I think it's
I don't know if I like the idea that we're finally getting a grounded street level Peter Parker style superhero in the MCU, and it looks like we're going into space.
Right, but we're still gonna go into space though.
But I think so. Here's my hope and pitch for like the next episode. Is this episode? There's like two avenues this show can go down right now because this episode was an extremely well balanced episode. 45 minutes of two different shows basically that meld really well together. So I'm hoping that next episode, which will be the middle of the season, the midpoint of it will be that Kamala learns everything about her past and she figures out her powers, and then we move on. And the next three episodes are whatever villain, and we don't lose all of the other stuff. Like the Bruno.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get a villain outside of damage control.
No,
I was thinking that today.
Yeah, no.
I think the villain is damage control, hunting her
be.
down. I don't think we're gonna get a true one.
No,
I think the show is about her dealing with her family, the mystery of what is going on with the portal, and where is that the great grandmother that vanished? That
Yes.
beseeched their name.
Yeah, I think so.
Where she went, which is obviously now going to be in space.
Right? Yeah, I was
That's
also
why
disappointed.
I think. Because she also said that she disappeared, and at some point somebody says to Kamala that she had like a group of people that disappeared with her, which is why that
they
made
make
me
a
think,
mention
like,
that a lot of people disappeared at the same time.
Yeah, maybe Inhumans, because like maybe the Kree rounded up a bunch of people a long time ago, and that's their backdoor for Inhumans, which would make sense. But
I mean, the reality is they could set up, like, we could have no Inhumans for a while. We get to the Marvels. We're dealing with the Kree. We have the fallout of Secret Invasion, and when we get to the Marvels, the Kree are like, let's deploy the weapon, and the weapon is the Terrigen bomb.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're going to whip up a couple of Inhumans, and it's like, oh, they just did Inhumans, like, in another movie, not called Inhumans, bam, sets up a new status quo, and it, like, just pollutes the water entirely. But as a result, like, Kamala gets caught up in it, and then she gets new powers that are, like, just like the hard light powers, but without the bangle and
What if this is their... I'm doing a what-if theory out here for this. What if this is their way to bring in the mutants?
No.
We are going to retcon all of this to be a mutant
that.
bomb that's going to awaken all the mutants.
No.
You don't think so?
No way.
I don't put that past the MCU doing something like that.
That'd be so
Yeah,
hard.
But I feel like that's how they would get their cake and eat it too. They would be like,
Yeah.
all right, we're doing it humans, but we're going to call them mutants, so you all shut the hell up.
Oh, that would suck hardcore. No, I hate that.
And here's Wolverine, and then they'll but here's what they could do. They do that to awaken the mutants, but there are people who already were in touch with their powers. Meet the X-Men. They've been working behind the scenes this whole time. Damage Control's been hunting them. If they drop the word mutant before the end of this show, I win.
They did drop mutants already in Doctor Strange. We're good.
That's
Like,
true. Same with Inhumans.
Yeah.
Marvel's clearly thinking about stuff, like thinking about wanting to do bigger concepts from the comics. It's interesting that a lot of this is like Damage Control is getting established more as like not just a plot device, like they're like an actual MCU thing now, which are here to stay. In this show, which is a weird place to put it. And also, like, we're dealing with more cosmic stuff to tie it into not only the next Captain Marvel movie, but probably Shang-Chi and whatever they're doing with that.
Oh, yeah, remember that?
So...
Because that was a big freaking deal.
Yeah. That was another thing, right? Is, like, the end is, like, there's a signal coming from somewhere.
Signal? What?
Attillin? I don't know. I'm riding the Inhumans train.
Yeah, you are. You are really big on Inhumans. I was like,
I honestly think they could fix the Inhumans.
Yeah.
I mean, they're already willing to bring back Anson, whatever his name was, for Black Bolt.
Yes. No, that
from the show.
That blew my freaking mind. Not as hard as Black Bolt's mind, but still just as hard.
But what I'm saying is they're not ignoring it. I think we're just going to ignore that show.
Yeah.
Like, we're just going to pretend that show never happened, like we do with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Fine.
And Black Bolt will just show back up.
Yeah, that's the other big elephant in the room, right? Is like that they have to reconcile whether or not they want to completely retcon Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. having happened in a different version of the MCU.
They easily could, because because S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't affect anything. Like, they could keep... Because in Humans... A, nobody freaking watched it. B, all we did was cast a charismatic actor people like anyway to be Black Bolt. With the S.H.I.E.L.D., it's like just that one show, like, because Daredevil, Luke Cage, who knows if that's in continuity like now, but with that complicates things, and they could figure that out later. But like S.H.I.E.L.D., nope. It's just not there.
I mean, what if they just have a scene where Nick Fury comes back and he's like, all right, Spider-Man, because Spider-Man will still be there. All right, Spider-Man, I figured it all out. Did you know that there's another universe where Phil Coulson lived and did an entire thing with the S.H.I.E.L.D. organization? And and Black Bolt, you were over there too with an entire group of Royal Inhumans. Hi, Black Bolt, we just met you.
that I'm more okay with. If S.H.I.E.L.D. was in like Earth 617 or something, I'm totally okay with that.
Because it is,
man,
it's
that
just
Phil
a
Coulson,
deviation.
I've watched his adventures like it was a TV show.
Right?
Like, it's pretty good up until like season 3. Like, it stays within the shadow of the MCU for a few seasons, and then they stray further and further to the point where they're in a computer, or they're in the future, or
they're in space.
I only came back to watch Ghost Rider go crazy and then step into hell and never come back.
They have a Ghost Rider on that show. They have two Ghost Riders.
And he's great.
And he's
They
great.
do technically have two, because Johnny makes Robbie. We get the origin where you see Johnny's
There's
boots.
actually technically 4, because Coulson and
Coulson
Mac
becomes a
both
Ghost Rider.
become Ghost Rider for an episode.
Wait, when did Coulson become a Ghost Rider?
That's
It's
what
this
makes
whole
him die.
thing. That's his like big thing, is at the end he cuts a deal with Ghost Rider to like save Daisy or something.
Yep.
Okay, because I know Ghost Rider comes back at the very ending. Like, by the way, he's not in hell. There's Robbie.
Coulson becomes Ghost Rider. He gives it back to Robbie, and then that burned out anything that fixed him, which is like, what?
Yeah, right. It's the start of them trying to kill him again, which takes like 4 seasons, but they eventually do.
Yep. But because the Whedon show, they replaced him with a robot. So
anyway, Miss Marvel.
Great episode.
It was just a great episode overall. I really enjoyed it. The stakes felt real when she was like lost the kid and then had to bounce him to the ground and he still hurt his ankle. I liked that.
Yeah.
I liked the direction we're going. I love the banter between the family.
Yeah.
Nakia talking to the father, trying to convince him. He's like, "Oh, but that other Rashid's my
love that
friend."
scene.
Yeah.
And she's just like, "Yeah, but what about blah 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 blah?" And he's like,
Oh no.
You wouldn't
Yeah.
take the future away from your 2 daughters, would you?
Right.
God.
Oh, it's great.
She's a true politician.
"Yeah."
Right? Yeah, it's well written. It's a well written show.
I love the father. So
he's
far, I
great.
think he's my favorite character, and then Kamala's second. Like, he's the best.
I gotta tell you, I like Kamala. I think the actress who plays her is wonderful, and I think
She's
the
great.
character is really
She is.
So
really
full of
fun.
charisma.
I'm so in. Yeah, I'm so in.
They did a really good job at the casting. So last
totally.
thing then, no post credits, no mid credits. I checked, so if there is one, I missed it.
Oh yeah,
Me
I
too.
forgot to even check. I think I
It
let the
wasn't-
credits
I
play.
scrolled through
so-
it. I dragged the thing through. But there is the cliffhanger that the new boy she likes, I don't know what that's tied to.
I don't either.
It's not damage control.
I think they're
it's connected to the family,
descendants. Yeah, they're descendants of whatever society her great grandmother was a part of that disappeared all
So
that
Kree.
time ago.
I'm telling you, it's going to be
So-
Kree, and they're going to say they're going to call them the mutants, and she's going to be like, "These are my X-Men."
No,
They're not going to do that. Are we
It's
going to
the
get the
Inhumans
costume in the last episode,
or
or is it
nothing.
just? Are we going to get it at some point? Because
We're
like,
going to get it. It's in the. It's
we
in the
got
previews.
it in episode 1.
yeah, yeah.
No, but, I
But it
mean,
was in a
what I'm
dream
saying, I
sequence.
wonder if the costume's going to be given to her by this other lady or whatever. Because
yeah, I think
the
so.
costume's in the trailer, so it's not just going to be a last episode thing.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Is her
Right.
like Miss Marvel costume in the trailer? Or
Yeah,
is it just
yeah.
her
It's
wearing
in,
the
the, it's,
Captain
all, it's in all the
Marvel
promotional material. I'm
It's
like,
all the promotional
The episode's
material.
over and you see her
Oh,
in
yeah, I
the
guess
costume.
it
And I'm like,
is.
what do we get in this costume? It's so great looking. I want to see it in action. And it's like, all right.
Oh,
Not
well,
gonna
I
surprise
guess the name of that character you were trying to remember earlier is Red Dagger, because when I searched
Red
Miss Marvel,
Dagger.
he's the second.
That's right.
He's the
There you
second casting, so he's here somewhere.
Cool,
Okay.
cool.
It probably is Kamran then, right? Like,
No, it's totally different actor, so it's not Kamran.
Oh, okay, okay.
Kamran is another guy on here. So
that's interesting because it's the same storyline from the comics. It's like
yeah,
this
all
guy
the promotional
from
art though
somewhere
has
else.
her in the costume, and it was seen on set a lot. So unless they were only leaking like the last fight,
Yeah.
I'm assuming we're going to get it the next episode or two.
Yeah. All right, cool.
I hope that's what I'm hoping is like all the superhero stuff. Like the show is already proven with this episode that they can do a lot in one episode.
Yes.
So I hope
Yeah, big time.
they just do a lot of the superhero stuff in episode 3, and then we move on for
Right?
4, 5, and 6, and that'll make the show feel really full and like an actual good, well-paced 6-episode season.
Exactly.
All right, well, that's it. That's our opinions on Miss Marvel episode 2. So far, this is standing head over heels over anything else. Like at this point, with only episode 2, I'm quick ranking off the top of my head: Miss Marvel, WandaVision, Loki, Falcon Winter Soldier. What if? Now I'm just naming whatever I can think of existed.
Yeah, just naming shows at this point.
Yeah.
But it definitely goes Miss Marvel, WandaVision for me so far.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Is
definitely.
taking the cake.
That's fair. This is definitely my favorite Marvel Disney Plus show so far. I love it.
Oh shit, Moon Knight was a thing.
Yeah. That's why it's
Yeah,
on
it
the bottom.
was. Let's not talk about that.
All right, thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time right here at Absolutely. Let us know your thoughts on episode 2.